Kiki. My pronouns are she, her, and today I have a special interview for you. A few weeks ago, I had the absolute pleasure to see Kittie live in Germany, but first, I had the honor to talk to these amazing legends. Supporting Kittie were Seven Blood from Berlin and Holy Wars from LA. Both delivered incredible performances, but I was especially impressed by the energy that Holy Wars' singer, Cat Leon, brings to the table. The headliners, Kittie, were absolutely amazing. It was a really fun and powerful show, and without a lot of small talk, so without further introduction, here's my talk with Kittie. Enjoy. Hello everyone, welcome to the Bleeding Metal podcast. I am so happy to be here in Hamburg today with Kittie.
Yay! Hello!
Yes!
I'm Tara, I play guitar.
I'm Morgan, I sing and play guitar.
Hell yeah, and you've been doing this for a while now?
A long time.
Yes.
Yes.
So amazing to finally see you again. I saw you live in 2007 or 8?
Probably 8.
Yeah.
And so that's a long time ago.
A handful of years.
Yeah.
Just a few. Yes, I'm super excited to see the show, the new show, and a very new era of Kittie.
Yeah.
Hell
We're
yeah.
excited too. It's been a very long time. So we're happy to be here.
Yes, and thank you so much for your time here right now as well. From the beginning of your career, what I have seen in interviews, you haven't very much liked talking about your gender, the gender of the members of the band. How do you feel about it nowadays?
I think it's fine. I don't think we hated the question. I think we just felt like it was a bit of a lazy question because it was the most obvious thing that you could ask about us. So it was almost like, could you maybe ask a little bit more in depth of a question? Or it's also hard to answer because we've only ever been female. So it's hard to say because we don't know what it's like to be a male in a band. So it's a bit of an awkward, clunky question. But no, I think we're very proud of the history of the band. And especially now, there's a lot of younger generation who are letting us know that they're joining bands because of us. And a lot of them are female, and it makes us feel really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to represent. Representation matters. To take up space as women, like all these things are very important. Like Tara was saying, it was so obvious. It's like, you could ask about the music, but, the whole purpose of us being here is because we're musicians. So that's why. It's never that we didn't like it. It was just the same question over and over and over again. So, yeah.
Talking about representation, I think that's so very important. Who was that for you? Who was your role model?
Lita Ford. We did grow up with a lot. I mean, we grew up in the 90s. So we had there was a lot of women, like Shirley Manson.
We had the Shirley Manson.
We had Hole. We had all the bass players from Hole. There was quite a lot, actually. And I think that they got... listening to them in interviews now, I didn't realize what they were going through, and it was really difficult for them, and it's nice to hear their experience, and they're getting their flowers now. That's great. But there was plenty. There's plenty for us to look at.
Yeah, a lot of women, but also, I don't know. I mean, I also idolized men in bands as well, and like for me as a young woman, it never occurred to me that it would be such a thing. I'm like, well, they can do it. Why can't I?
Right.
And so I was like, damn right, I did. But yeah, it just never occurred to me that it would be such a focus, that it would be so controversial, that it would be something that I would continue to talk about for the rest of my days, I'm sure.
Yeah. Because here, especially at the Bleeding Metal podcast, we talk about it a lot. We talk about feminism a lot. And that's where we want to get, right? To be musicians. To ask people, who's your favorite musician? And not for them to then categorize where my favorite female musicians are this. And just to also, when people think about metal guitarist, for the picture not automatically be a dude.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the fight that we're all fighting as women in music, as women in metal, especially as a more male-dominated genre.
It is really nice. I feel like all of us know the importance of it now because there's a lot more spoken about. And in the past, I think a lot of women have been pitted against each other, and I think that now it feels very unified amongst us. We have befriended a lot of our peers in music, and we're like together, and it's like, don't say this person is better than this person. We don't give a shit. It's really nice for us to be like, no, you can't say that we're better than them or they're better than us because we're friends. So like no more of that bullshit. We're all together and we're all like rising together. And it's a really nice like sisterhood.
It's super important to uplift all women, no matter what level you're at, no matter what ability level. You know, I think it's important to back them and just say you can do it.
Yes. We were just talking about this a few interviews ago with Maria, the singer from Future Palace, and she was saying she feels like it comes a lot from the fans, also from the industry, but a lot from the fans. The comparisons, there is already Hayley Williams, there's already another person, and why would you do that? And
So silly.
yeah, like you would never say that to a man.
Right, yeah. I mean, someone, sorry, this is so negative, but I saw someone call us a teeny bopper band on Instagram, and my first thought was, how could you ever possibly look at us and listen to us and call us teeny bopper band? Because if we were male, that would never ever be used on a male band who was playing that heavy. Teeny boppers? Are you kidding me? And it's so laughable. Like, it doesn't bother. I don't care if that person made that comment.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so stupid that it's laughable.
Truly ridiculous.
Yeah.
But also, where have you been for the last 25 years?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
yes, I was a teenager once. We were teenagers once.
It was a very long time ago.
25 years ago. Yeah. It's interesting because it does seem like, you know, a lot of times a person's first impression will stick with them. And it's like, if you check in with a band, you'll see the work that we've done, the growth that we've made. I think it's been all sort of put out on display there, but like, we're certainly not the same band that we were back then.
That was not a teeny bopper band.
No, even to begin with. Yeah. Yeah. But that's just people like that trying to discredit, trying to destabilize things. And it's like, I mean, cool.
And maybe also kind of single you out. I saw someone had called you the anti-Spice Girls.
That was a really big one back when we first came out. And it was like, it was like the industry had no point of reference for what we were doing. And again, it really never occurred to us how big of an impact what we dared to do was going to make. But yeah, the industry had no frame of reference in that time. And the Spice Girls in, you know, late 99 and early 2000 were a really big deal. And so it was like, oh, we were created to be the antithesis or something like that. And it's like, no, we formed this band because we just believed we could. No one could tell us otherwise. But it's so bizarre to me that it was like, we were the anti-Spice Girls, and that was something that was
silly slam on the Spice Girls too, because Spice Girls are fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, in their own right, absolutely. But like, there was literally no comparison. Just again, lazy journalism. Just like, you know, pick something, pick anything, and run with it.
Yeah. Also, what we would nowadays call a clickbaity headline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, alongside with all the meow, purr, hiss, cat references that were in every single title.
Still catching their way.
Yeah, claw their way, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just silliness.
Talking about the past, how have you seen the industry change? Also in terms of finances, you came out when MTV was still a big thing. And then you saw also all these different phases of the business.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I think there was a time in the not too distant past where we joked like, oh, you know, we started out in the industry in the good old days back when there was a lot of money and labels had bigger budgets and things like that. But I kind of think now that yes, the industry has changed and we can obviously dig into that, I guess, in terms of at least financially. This is a time we've never in our career had so many wonderful opportunities as we have in the present now. We were grossly underpaid as a band back at, I don't want to say at the height of our career, because I do believe that now we are actually surpassing, and we have surpassed many of those things. It's just the context is different. And so, yeah, we certainly have become a lot bigger than that and experienced things that we've never experienced before. We certainly were undervalued and underpaid back then compared to many of our male peers. I could name many examples, but now it feels very different. You know, I feel like we are being paid more than we ever have been as a band, and we're getting more opportunities, and even just being here, playing all of these festivals. It's been a long time, so we do still feel like we have to prove ourselves in a weird way, which again, I do believe that there's still a little bit of a gender bias there happening with having to come back after 50 years and prove ourselves.
Yeah.
But we're doing it, and it's clear that it's a different era for us. It's different.
Yeah. And in terms of human rights, politics, do you feel treated now better as well? Or does the better payment also feel like the gender pay gap is getting smaller? There's a lot of questions.
Yeah,
I mean, interesting question. We don't know what everyone else is making, so there's that. We can just make some assumptions or hear some rumors. I do feel like the political climate has been helpful. We are being respected. We are being treated as musicians and not just female musicians, which they always used to have to put the female in the front. And I've done that habitually as well because it's an easy habit to pick up female guitar player, female singer, da-da-da-da-da. But it does feel like we are being respected as opposed to we're not being treated as a novelty, like the fact that we are an all-female band. It doesn't seem like a novelty at all for people. I think that people are just, I mean, our crowds have always been very diverse, but it is nice to see the really hardcore metal guys show up as well as fans, where that wasn't so much happening before. And I'm glad that we are legitimate enough of a real band in there. I mean, they're welcome. You know, it sucks that it took a bit for them to get there, but everybody's welcome on our show, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more in general with the industry. Obviously, there is more work to be done. But as far as seeing more women front people, musicians, also crew, those things, like there is a lot more representation that we're noticing, whereas it used to be we were usually like the sole sort of women in a situation, or very few of them. And so I've certainly noticed a shift in that as well. Still more work to be done because I know that it's not equal.
No, it's going to be 50-50. Yes. Until it's 50-50, we're not done.
We're not going to shut up,
Yeah, but it's clear that as far as like the genre is concerned, there is a lot more women to represent, and you can feel that shift in a lot of the lineups and things like that. It's great. There is some progress.
It's in the crowd as well. Our crowds have always, like I said, so diverse, but we're playing a lot of festivals, and now like to see the festival crowd is a lot of women have gotten into metal on the fan side, and that is spectacular too. Yeah.
Does it feel safer as well in that sense?
As far as our shows go, I will say, like Morgan was referencing, being over here is very special to us because we didn't choose to not play these big festivals before. We weren't invited. So that's why we weren't on these festivals. So this is really special to, on this go, we were invited. That's a big thing. But our shows have always just been the outsiders, everybody. Every single kind of person. It took me a bit, because I was young, to realize the space that we had made, especially for the queer community. I didn't know that what we were creating because I was in it. And so it's hard to step back until we wrapped it up. And then I stepped back and I thought, wow, I didn't realize the space we were making for these people. Our shows have always felt safe. It's hard to comment on other people's crowds because we were chronic headliners and we weren't opening up for other bands. I don't know what their crowds look like. I can assume they didn't look like ours though. I like to call it a Dolly Parton concert.
Yeah.
Because I don't know another artist who has every single kind of person.
Yeah.
And they can go and feel safe. And as far as we get to festivals, our own safety, it feels good to know that there was a movement to have the shitty behavior end.
Yeah. It's also such a paradox to be the outsiders in a scene that is supposed to be the outsiders and that is supposed to be the most open-minded and the most welcoming and the nicest of the subgenres.
It's still definitely a sausage fest circle jerk for sure. We're definitely
To put it lightly.
Yeah. You're right. Like all of those things are true, but it can also be true that you can still be within it, but feel like you're on the outside because you're not part of that sausage fest circle jerk.
Yeah. Or just because there's also men out there that are not great, even though they're part of our scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I do feel safe in the metal community for the most part, but there certainly are some outliers, and we have also been on the other side of that, and I'm sure you have, in speaking to women all across. Every woman has a story. Every woman has had the same experience doing this, and things have improved, and like Tara was saying, you know, there's been a movement to try to weed out a lot of those bad actors, but at the same time, there are still people that get weird.
Yeah, I also think that the benefit of all of us being female is that we're not the sole female in the band. If I have an experience, I say to my bandmates, this happened, this person was creepy or something. My bandmates believe me. I don't have to explain it. Touring with In This Moment and another band that we played with, Blackguard, that was Elisa Wakeless's band previously. And to hear them speak about their experience, it's not that they were bad, it's just that their band members didn't understand what they were going through. And so they would say like, oh, but you guys, you're surrounded with females, they're having the same experience as you. It was like, "Psh, of course. It was such a privilege. It's such a privilege to be out with other females. And I think that, like Morgan mentioned, crew members, there's more, I know a lot of artists are like asking for female crew members so that they have people who understand their experience as well. And it's something that I absolutely overlooked, but it is something that we have the privilege of experiencing. Like I could like, I need you to go to the bathroom with me.
Yeah.
And you know, she'll just like, of course I do, no problem. And you'll have to say, because of this and this and this and this. You don't, no explanation required.
Yeah, and it's been nice to have by default, like, you know, your girls with you, you know.
Oh, that's beautiful. I do want to ask you about your musicianship, though. How have you felt that you have evolved as musicians, as vocalists, and what has changed?
I mean, the break that we took, I think we all sort of went and diversified a bit. Everyone continued to do music for a time. And when you do that, when you've been playing with the same people for so long, like to dive in and do other things with other minds is challenging. And so I think we all went and did something a little different to challenge ourselves, just to keep the music flowing and just do what we do as artists or whatever. And for me personally, like the experiences that I had while doing other things taught me a lot about myself, and it really helped me to like push boundaries and things. And these were things that I learned that when Kittie started back up again, I was able to bring to the table and say, you know, here's how I've evolved as a songwriter, or even just like creating melodies or ideas, all of those sorts of things. I've never been the best guitar player in the world, but I like to think that I do what's right for me and for the band. And I think I've certainly learned a lot from the time away, and then nice to be able to apply it here.
I have a very similar answer, just playing in different genres and being able to pull and learn. Also playing a lot of covers as well, so learning from other guitar players by default there, and then being able to take that, my basket filled up a little bit more. To be able to take that and bring it to Kittie was actually really great. And, you know, we have like more of a mature approach as well.
Yeah.
And the chemistry between us is still there as well. So it was really neat to be able to like have all of these experiences, but then just kind of settle back into like putting an old shoe on, you know what I mean? It was very comfortable, but it was
a polished shoe.
Yes, a new and polished shoe. Yeah, the approach is different. It is, like Tara said, there's just a lot more maturity that we are bringing to it, and being able to step away, I think, has also really put a lot of this into perspective as well. It's just a different experience all around, being older, being wiser, having more life experiences and experiences with music, and then being able to come back to this and have a better appreciation for it all.
To wrap up, what's your biggest motivation? What would you tell other women in metal out there?
I would tell other women in metal, don't ever let anyone tell you you can't, or don't take no for an answer. These are things I feel like I've been saying for years and years, because if I believed people at the beginning of our career saying women shouldn't do that, you can't do that, you're going to hurt yourself if you scream like that, then we wouldn't be sitting here. I would say my biggest motivation is fear. I want to be feared. That's I want, you know,
that's the
like,
first time of it.
I know it sounds insane, but it's something that I've always felt. When I'm up on stage, I don't want people to be like, she's hot or she's cute. I want to instill fear, and that's my motivation.
I want to add to your first. I also think the biggest advice would be like, just to be yourself. Everybody wants to tell you how you should do something, and like, not that you just shouldn't do it, but they will tell you how you should do it. And it's all bullshit. Something that works for one person does not work for everyone. There is no code. There's no plan. You just have to stick to yourself. The reason why Kittie is here is because Kittie could not be changed. And it made us kind of unpopular for a little while, but the band could not be changed. You know, there was a bit of a push at one point by one person to be turned into like a rock band. And this is not a fucking rock band. It's a fucking metal band. And Kittie is a metal band. Kittie does what it does in the way that we do it, and that's that, and so stubbornly, and we just couldn't shift, and that's why we're here. That's why there's a song called I Still Wear This Crown. And also my biggest motivation, I'm like Morgan, I do not want to be sexualized at all. I put my chin up a lot on stage, and I noticed that I was doing it, and it is like fuck off and come at me, and I think I developed it from when we were not popular. So I was like, if you don't like me, fuck off. And I noticed that I still do it, but I like to feel powerful. I do not want to be a little soft thing on the stage. I'm not. I'm sometimes that off the stage, but on the stage, I want to be respected.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much.
Of course. This was awesome. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe now to the Bleeding Metal podcast wherever you listen, but especially on YouTube, where you can now watch all of our episodes and interviews. Till next time.